Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Borderlands 3. Today we are just going to be chatting about some news and also things to come within Borderlands. Also, mainly Halloween event. That's mainly why we're here, but I did want to mention the reason why we're not covering all of the tiny events is because, and I don't know, I talked about this beforehand, but whenever I see videos on YouTube, it really makes me feel like I don't need to make them. So for instance, if there's like 1,000 channels that are already like, hey, here's the new events, here's the new things, here's the new weapons that are overpowered and etc. For me, it's like, oh, okay, well those videos are already being made, so I don't need to kind of compensate for that, right? Because these people are already doing it, and they're doing a damn good job at it. But I still like to make videos, so I try to kind of think of something, a way that I could do it that maybe adds something or changes it or something. Hence why we do the legendary guides, and it's more of a hybridization of like a guide, and then us just messing around, goofing around, talking for a good while. But yes, that's kind of my struggle, is whenever I see something that already exists, I don't want to pile on top of it. But when it comes to main pinnacle DLCs like this, like Blood Harvest, I really do want to just chat about them, and if anything, just theory craft about what the hell we can see in them. So, they just released a Bloody Harvest trailer, kind of announcing when it's going to be. Also, it's going to be this Thursday. Hopefully I'm going to get this up sooner rather than later, so I might rush some videos, but that's fine. We won't mention our progress within Borderlands just yet. Although, if you've been watching the streams, and you probably already know. But anyways, point being is there's a brand new special event coming to Borderlands 3 called Blood Harvest. It's been a thing ever since I can remember in Borderlands. Yeah, every single year I think they always have something. Well, not every year, sorry. Back when Borderlands 2 was up and at 'em, it was almost every time of the year. I think it was 2 or 3 years of Halloween, this kind of event. Could be wrong. Yeah, regardless, this is a free event, which is awesome. Also, we are going to be meeting our new micro-event manager kind of guy, who happens to be a dinosaur that can speak somehow, because of course that's a thing. He's going to tell us about all the upcoming little events. So again, if you guys don't know the schedule for Borderlands, we have a bunch of micro events going on. For instance, Halloween is one of them. The Blood Harvest is another free event, but there are 4 pinnacle DLCs coming out throughout the course of a year, and based on those DLCs' success will be what decides Borderlands handling in the future. Now, I don't know if that means that they'll just do another year of DLC if it proves to be lucrative and successful, considering how much Borderlands 1 or Borderlands 3 has already sold. It's the best selling game of this year thus far, and the year's almost over. So yeah, I'm not sure if they'll do like a whole new, another 4 DLCs for the following year, or if they might be like, okay, this game has the legs to be a paid-as-a-service game, which I kind of hope they do, and that's kind of like what we're in right now, which is awesome. Like, really, really amazing. And Borderlands is one of those special cases where I don't think you need a lot to do a lot of things with. Like again, I think you'd be absolutely fine. I think a lot of people would be fine if in one of the next events after this one, Torg something, I think. But basically, we get a brand new map with a bunch of new bosses to fight and probably legendaries to kill, or legendaries to get. Sorry. And to me, that would be enough for the community. Constantly getting these different augmentations to your builds potentially within a legendary class mod that they could add. All those things. Maybe a weapon that gets crazy and does something that would completely synergize with a build that no one is using yet. Stuff like that, and that makes the game way more fun and way more interesting. And yeah, I definitely think that they could make this a paid-as-a-service kind of game, especially if they're doing stuff like that, which I think would be the best kind of just battle arena, to where you could actually farm out stuff and find stuff and get all this stuff, as well as with the weirdness that there's like, in order to get like the perfect build, you need to get a lot of things in order. You need to get all of the tiny little white text below every class mod and relic in your favor for your build. For me, it's Moe's, and of course I want grenade damage, radiation damage, and gun damage would be nice as well. Or area of effect damage would be also pretty good. But anyways, point being is that that's all stuff that you'd want, along with a legendary equivalent of those and an anointed buff. So there's a lot of things where you could constantly keep grinding. And right now we're kind of just segregated to the boss that we've been fighting 1,000 times, Shock Trooper or Grave Ward, because they're the only ones that don't have stun locks. It'd be really easy if they just took off all stun locks off of the bosses, because they're a nightmare to farm. So what is to come? What is something noteworthy about the coming days? Well, one is that despite Blood Harvest going on, and everyone's going to be participating in this event, which we will explain in a couple of minutes, I just want to let you guys know that the new event, like the micro event going alongside Blood Harvest, is called the Mayhem mode on Twitch, I think it's called. I don't think it's sectioned to having to be on Twitch, though. I think it's just basically all anointed buffs are increased, and by that I mean all drop chances of anointed buffs are increased. So if you're like me and haven't gotten just a little bit of a good legendary with an anointed buff on it, then make time for this event. In fact, there is a method that you can do when it comes to farming with flak that is insane when it comes to getting legendaries. So I'm very, very, very much hoping that works alongside that and synergizes with that. But we'll see. Anyways, on to Blood Harvest. You guys might be like, well, Grin, what the hell is Blood Harvest and why do we want to know about it? Well, unlike other games who have various Halloween events, Blood Harvest is very interesting because not only do we get a brand new map, full of course, Halloween type things. I don't know what the scope of it is, but it's cool the things that they're doing. So not only are there new skins for us to attain for both our guns characters, the character skins and the gun skins are kind of just okay though. They're not like quite on a legendary status, at least for me. But anyways, we do have a brand new legendary shotgun, I believe. I think it's a Tedior, if I'm not mistaken. I think. Yeah, but anyways, it's a brand new shotgun that's a legendary. So that's cool. With this event, we get a legendary shotgun. Now, what is so good about it and why is it legendary? Well, a passive buff that's going on in the environment when we're killing Haunt, I believe his name is. Trant, the big Mollywand dude. Yeah, well, that we fight on Athena, that everyone fights because he doesn't have a stagger. Haunt, I believe also won't, which is nice. But in his event, in his world, I believe he has something called Terror, and this new effect is basically going to imply debuffs on you. But I think you can get special counters to those debuffs. So I think his shotgun, his like weird shotgun, basically plays off of how much terror you have. The only thing, this is the kind of the main crux I wanted to talk to you guys about, because I really am worried about this. But I think I've heard this before, so I'm not the only one who's worried about this. But the shotgun supposedly plays with something, a kind of status effect that exists within Haunt's kind of domain, right? Well, what happens when we take that out of Haunt's domain? Is it just going to be a kind of an okay legendary, or is it going to be just... I really hope they don't do that thing where it's like, it's an amazing legendary in his event, but then if you take it outside of that, it's just kind of okay. I would hate that. I would rather have something that's just kind of a slightly above okay, but is good across the board. And to me, it would make sense that, like, when you hold this weapon, you start building terror, so that even if you're playing it outside of the event, you're still getting those weird buffs, and maybe certain characters can utilize those debuffs better than others, Maybe like the debuff literally makes you weaker, but gives you a lot of damage, so therefore people like Amara who have a bunch of resistances and like Moes who can constantly heal, things like that would be more applicable with this gun. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm really excited for the thing, but I really am worried about the legendary and it being kind of getting redundant after the event ends. But as of the event goes, I really hope they're paying attention to what people are doing at endgame, like what the majority of people are doing, which is just farming to get the best little thing, like the anointed weapon that they already use with all the relics and all that stuff in order as well. Like, that's what people are doing right now. People are just killing themselves farming Grave Ward and all these people. So I'm really hoping that they see that and they're like, okay, let's try to make the Haunt fight quick. Or by quick, I mean like killable. Like, again, I hope he doesn't have a bumper where it's like, okay, now wait 10 minutes for him to just do a stupid animation, and then for the animation to end, and then you just kill him like you would do normally, It's annoying to have to wait there for 10 minutes. Anyways, hi, ladies and gentlemen. I forgot one or two very important things that are also really, really amazing. Basically, a while back on the Borderlands show, they talked about this. I completely forgot. But basically, there was also, there were supposed to be 2 new legendary weapons. I think it's just one because that's all they've been advertising. But they also said in that Borderlands show kind of podcasty thing that they're doing, they said that there would be a new legendary and a new grenade mod. And a new grenade mod makes me very, very excited because it could either be a terror kind of thing, or it could be summoning forth those skeletons, those like skeleton heads that we're seeing in the trailers, and it would be so sick if those were sentries. So you throw a grenade and then it's just this floating head that just deals damage, and my girl Moes is drooling because that would be so unbelievably sick. Even if they just heat seeked towards an enemy, sure, although it would be pretty dope if they were sentries. Anyways, yeah, that makes me super excited. Also, I wouldn't even be mad if they took like 3 grenades in one, right? Especially with Moes. I'm mainly thinking selfishly through Moes. But anyways, I thought I'd point that out. So also there's a shield. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but yeah, there's also a shield. I don't know. Again, I think it would make sense that it would have to do with, well, we see it in the trailers. There's a certain like shock trooper that has like an ectoplasm shield. So to me, it would make sense that if you build up enough terror and your shield breaks, maybe you have an ectoplasm shield like thing. Because it would be weird for them to make assets to then not bind to legendary type gear. Or at least that's what I would think. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, back to me in the past. Boom. Regardless, ladies and gentlemen, needless to say, I am absolutely excited for the Blood Harvest event. We don't have too much details besides legendary weapon, new armors, or new skins, sorry, new weapon skins as well. I think probably some weapons that just play off of the weird haunt, like terror mechanic that they're introducing. But again, I really hope the terror mechanic is like, I don't know, when you take damage, you start building up terror, right? Like fear of, oh, I'm gonna get shot again. And then that can be applied outside of the haunt event. But if it's just a weapon that's super sectioned to this event, I mean, even if it was like, if they made it really easy to farm for this legendary that they're going to give us, I still would feel kind of backhanded by it. You know, I'd rather it be, again, something that works outside of the event as well. And I really hope they don't just be like, hey, if you get this legendary, you just blitz everything down in haunt event. But it's like, yeah, but that's not what I want. I want something that can be used outside of it, you know? But maybe it's not about what I want. I don't know. Regardless, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I am still loving Borderlands immensely and still want to cover it so dearly on the channel. So I appreciate all of you who've been supporting the content. As well as, well, yeah, I don't know. Because a part of me, yeah, I don't know, because you know how in the beginning I said that, hey, I kind of feel like whenever I see content out there, it makes me as a content creator be like, okay, that's taken care of. I know there doesn't need to be a need for more of that content, especially when the content's good. Like, you know, there's plenty of people that cover every tiny little micro update that happens to the game. Whereas to me, I like to pay attention to Reddit and like all those kinds of things, and then make like a long 20-minute gameplay of us just messing around with this weirdness, you know, this build, this whatever. But I don't know. I don't know if like, again, one of the things is people could be like, well, Grin, I subscribe to your channel, or I want you to describe or hang out with us and describe what the heck's going on with the events, you know, even if just the tiny ones like the Twitch Mayhem event. It's super important that you know what's going on with that one, increasing anointed drops and all that stuff. Like maybe you guys are like, yeah, but I don't follow any of those other people, I follow you. So if you could be the one-man army here, that'd be great. Who could, you know, cover all sides instead of just covering one aspect of Borderlands. Are you guys in that camp at all? I don't know, because that's the thing. Like I don't. That's kind of an argument, you know, that's a solid argument for people being like, hey, well, you should cover those anyway, because there's people, like maybe some of you guys, who are like, hey, I'm not really following the Borderlands community too much, I just watch yours. So if you want to keep me up to date, then that'd be great. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'll always cover these kinds of things, like the bigger events, the like brand new map, brand new stuff in general to go in and hunt for and find. But I'm not sure if you guys want me to cover every tiny little thing. Like we did our version of covering some of the patch notes when Moze got nerfed, and there's another video coming, which I may rush this one before that one, but it's where we're talking about Moze again. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, thank you so much for your time. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and